إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Dear sisters and brothers, Alhamdulillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I am here with your show Islam in Modern Time, and our today's topic is a little bit different than usually what we discuss on this platform. My friends, so many people actually they ask me about the impact of social media on our society. Actually, the way this is just like a transformation, I would say, which is flooded the society with so much of content inside. I mean, that people keep engaged and busy. And I've seen that this also increased in the COVID times, actually, because in the COVID times, people were mostly restricted to their homes, and they were not going out. So a lot of people were actually just basically they were always on the social media, one Instagrams and Facebooks and other stuff that they do. Well, honestly speaking, when they ask me whether it has, the way it has impacted the society, whether there are any negative effects on that, well, anything in excess, Islam does not, recommends. Islam does not allows anything which is in excess, even if that thing is good, and even naturally, if you look at the things which are beneficial to us. For example, food is. And water is something which is important for our lives. I mean, we live on food and water, but if we take excessive intake of water and food, we'll eventually have some kind of conflict with our physical health. I mean, you name it. I mean, anything that goes to extreme becomes bad. Even the feelings which are good, if they are in extreme, those feelings become some kind of extreme shows in reflects in those feelings are bad. So whether it's to do with the food and with the feelings, anything and everything in excess is bad. Anything which is in extreme is bad. Similarly, the social media, the way I look at it, there are certain, we can find some information, we can probably pass time also, look into it, but I have people actually they discuss with me that there are family members who are on the social media for hours and hours and hours, and it never ends. So how it would not affect a normal life? I mean, any imbalance in our lives, when we are completely detached with everybody around us, and we're just basically focusing, and the time comes that we develop that comfort zone in that. Actually, when we develop that comfort zone, we are only seeing and doing, and we're only living in something which is we're only living in that sphere of the whole thing, and that's where the things are not right, because we have certain obligations toward our lives. We have certain obligations towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our deen. We have certain obligations towards our families, and we have certain obligations towards the official things. I mean, you name it. So if something is keeping someone engaged so drastically and dramatically in one thing, in the name of a social media, then it is something really wrong. Then that means that I'm compromising what my duties are towards Allah, because I would rather be careless with my prayers. I wouldn't be paying attention. And honestly speaking, I've seen people, they just simply come, they offer prayers, and then they immediately go back to, they are good ones, I would rather say, that they would do their prayers, and then they would simply go back and again be involved in the social media, uh, day and night. They were there in the toilets, they're on the beds, they're everywhere they're sitting, they are doing it actually. And they find something that interests them in their whatever they're looking at it, and for hours and hours it goes on and on. So what I'm saying is that anything in extreme is not good. Islam does not allow anything that is in extreme. Even the religion Islam does not. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Islam, it says this is a religion which is not extreme, which is a balance between everything, and that's why وَرَهْبَانِيَّةً ابْتَدَوْهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهَا. The leaving the world and going and sitting inside the cave, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not allow and gives us the permission, because you have, Allah said, even your religion has the obligations on you. Still you have to spend time with your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, your friends and family, and wives and husbands, and everybody. You have to give it a right balance. You have to spare time in a way that everything should look very balanced. Any imbalance is actually takes your life to some direction which would not be a desirable life. For example, if somebody is engaged day and night on this social media, and just basically from one side to another and from one comment to another, and some people would take extra time, would put their photographs there, and what they're eating and where they're traveling and what they're doing and everything they're going to put there. So not only they will be engaged with the random people who have no connection to them, and there's no benefit also. It's just a large sum of time is just a waste of time. Imagine how much life is important. Every time, either I should be connected to Allah, or I should be connected to the members of my family, where I'm part of that, where I show my care, where I show my love, where I give I give that feeling of connection to those people. And if I'm just connected on something which is doing no use for entertainment segment, I say fine, you can find some time for yourself. You can simply open it up, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most, and then you just simply move on. But it's not the case. It is an ongoing story from one to another site and another site, and then taking time out and making an exposure. And imagine this is also for those people. For example, there's another dimension, that I'm compromising on the obligations of Allah towards me, which is my religion. So I'm not paying proper attention, which when I'm just busy doing this stuff. Second thing is, I'm also compromising my family life. If I'm a son or a daughter, I'm not paying attention to my mom and dad, because I'm just sitting on the gadget and doing it day and night. If I'm wife or a husband and I'm just doing this, then the wife is not, or the husband is, one of them or both of them are not fulfilling their own rights. They're simply overlapping something, creating a silent conflict. Trust me that lots of marriages also are. I would say that they're failing, because the couple who's supposed to be together and spending time together is actually just doing things which on their own, and it's actually drifting them away from each another. This is creating a kind of a distance between both, and it is a silent conflict taking place. I mean, they probably they would not mention that they would, because just to keep the marriage going and the relation going, they'll keep silent. But imagine, you on one hand, people are compromising by getting engaged extra times. I'm talking about in extreme, those who are doing it day and night, all the time. So they are compromising the obligations of Allah. then they are compromising the obligation toward their families. They're also compromising, on the things which they should be doing in a normal social circle where some people can sit down and decently talk to each other and have a decent conversation. I mean, small things, small chit chats. But why I brought this topic up, because trust me, I have questions actually. I mean, they're very serious questions people have asked me. I mean, I came across questions where people are complaining about their wives and husbands that they stay on their hand gadget all the time. And they are just as if they don't have any time. So how the relation would get nurtured? How relation would get nurtured if I'm not paying attention? I mean, usually people, even in the past, the people who used to have extra friends, for example, husbands used to have so many friends that they were unable to pay attention to their wives, so their wife had serious issues, and sometimes the marriages are at the stake, because within the normal range, everything is acceptable. Within the norms, everything is acceptable. But anything beyond and over the limit is how that can be acceptable. And another dimension to that, which I would try to mention here, is that when we actually put pictures, for example, and especially those people who are in contact, some of them are not as privileged as you are. So you are putting in every food that you eat, you are putting in every time that every dress that you're wearing. Imagine, what about those less privileged people who cannot afford those kind of foods and dresses? So then there is also an element of a bad eye. I mean, not with the bad intention, but the bad eye. Imagine that if somebody is so hungry, I'm giving you a small, very raw example. If somebody is too hungry and you're sitting and eating in front of him, now this person he or she not necessarily don't like or doesn't like you, but under the circumstances, being hungry, he will have that thing in his or her mind that he's eating or she's eating. And look at me. Similarly, when you are putting everything on the mass media, that every time that you are eating, this is what am I eating, and this is what I'm having, and this is where I'm traveling, and this is what I'm wearing. Nobody knows what are the stories behind you, but with the smiley face and showing everyone the a very glamorous side of your life would only attract the bad eye, because not everybody is going to be so privileged, and people will look at you. People will look at you from that thing. Oh, look at that! This food I can't afford. Look at this person. He or she is actually so lucky to have that kind of food. Oh, look at her. What kind of beautiful dress is she wearing? I don't have those kinds of dresses. Imagine. So this element is also a negative, a very, very negative element. And this is, like I said, that the relations are silently drifting away from each other. And unfortunately, the mature people, it's not just about the teenagers I'm talking. Probably the teenagers, I don't know, somehow I would say the teenagers are rather, more conscious about these things, that how much time am I spending on what? How much time am I giving to things which are not necessary in my life? But it has become a disease. I'm sorry to say that. It has become a sickness. Like I mentioned, that within the norms, in a limited way, it's fine, because it's a time of a social media. We live in an era where this element is part of a society. But how much time do I have to spend? I have to decide. What are my obligations? I have to decide. How I have to distribute time? I have to decide. But dear sisters and brothers, what I'm trying to tell you is that, since people asked me that what is the answer to it in Quran and Hadith, So Quran and Hadith makes a beautiful answer to everything. Everything that is an extreme, it's not good. I mean, I'm not talking about the haram part of it, because there must be like I mentioned, there must be some good things in that too. I mean, there must be something which are beneficial, some tips, some things. Yeah, please do. I mean, I always say those things are okay, but how much time that you are spending, that's the most important question. It's not just about what you're if you're, God forbid, looking at something completely haram, that's haram. If something good, then it's good. But here the question is not that you're looking at haram or halal. The question is how much time that you're spending on that. How much time that you are spending out of your normal time and not giving that time to Allah for His obligations upon us, and not giving that time to the family, to husbands and wives and children and moms and dads and brothers and sisters and civil society, then we are actually causing trouble to ourselves, we are causing trouble to our lives. Stay with us, we'll be right back. ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So dear sisters and brothers and friends, we were talking about the impact of the social media on the society. So I would just like to wrap up things before I conclude my today's discussion. That since people have asked me that what exactly the Islamic ruling on the social media. So Islam touches base on the things which are the basics actually, unless and until it gives you a clear-cut, ruling on certain things. So the one of those things, that anything which is the ruling is that if I'm paying extra, I'm involving in something by paying extra time into it is not good. It's not healthy. And like I mentioned, anything in extreme is not acceptable in Islam. Anything good, even the goodness in a way that, if that is creating, an extreme, something like extreme. For example, I give you an example. The Prophet ﷺ was approached by a lady, and she said that my husband is so busy, in the daytime, that he does not pay any attention to me, and he's usually goes out, and in the night when he comes, that he is just offering his qiyamul layl, his tahajjud, his salah, and also in the daytime he's fasting, and he's not paying attention. Now imagine the fasting and salah, which is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lady came and approached Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that my husband is busy in the daytime, also fasting every day, and in the night he's busy with qiyamul layl, which is salah, which is the night prayer. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not tell the lady that, oh, why would you come and complain? He's doing something really good. He called rather her husband, and he told her husband that, are you closer to Allah than myself? He said, no, obviously you are the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the best of the bestest. So he said, I also offer salah in the night, and I also fast every alternative day, but I also pay attention to my wife. So the point is that there has to be a balance. Even if you're praying or if you're fasting, you have to have a certain balance of time. Now, what I'm saying is that why this is affecting the society, because people who are involved, they are not realizing that they are going over and above the limits. They're spending hours and hours sticking to their handheld gadgets, and they're just doing it. So they are compromising on the things that Allah has asked them to do. They are compromising on the obligations of the society, including their families, husbands, wife, children, and especially I would say the husband and wife. If one of them is engaged and involved and getting indulged into this thing day and night, is really affecting the relation. And I emphasize that, please, because many people actually call and including men and women, and they were saying that their husbands and their wives, they are always on this social media, and they are so much involved that we have no place in their life. So this relation requires the love and mawadda, and this requires attention to each other and respect and love for each other. If we are doing something which is affecting our lives, and especially the married life, then trust me, we are actually damaging the very important bond in the society, because we are part of the society. And if we are doing that, we have to watch out. We have to mark a caution that how much time do I spend on a social media in order to have a healthy relation with my partner. So that is the one effect of that. The second is that I'm also wasting my time. If I'm paying so much attention, I'm actually wasting my time. I'm simply not doing something which is, I should do something better than that. And there are things a lot better than that I can do. So I'm wasting my time. So I'm affecting my relation. I'm wasting my time by excessively engaging in the social media. This is what is happening. And then on top of that, and I'm creating something, if I'm always highlighting these things, I'm always showing these things. This is what I'm eating. This is what I'm wearing. This is what I'm doing. And I show all those spots and areas and places, then I'm also actually, the people who are less privileged, I'm also creating something in their hearts that they're feeling bad, actually, honestly speaking. Probably they'll say they are so good they send you hearts and likes and all that. But deep inside their hearts, they probably think that they can't afford, they didn't go, they did not eat that thing, they did not wear those clothes. And that's where it is again negatively impacting the society. So we have to keep an eye. And last but not the least, the most important thing is that I'm actually not doing what I'm supposed to be doing for Allah. Time is important. The time is clicking. And every click takes me away, brings me closer to my grave, brings me closer to my death. And I'm actually spending time that I should be spending in zikr Allah. I should spend more time in zikr Allah, remembrance of Allah. I should spend more time in prayers. I should spend more time in recitation of Quran. I should do more time doing good to others. First my close ones and then the others. This is what it's needed. So I'm also compromising on my deen. So dear sisters and brothers, if you ask me my opinion, I would say that you have to create a very good balance. The time that you spend on the social media, and the time that you spend with your family and loved ones, and the time that you're supposed to be giving to Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all the time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us away from all the extremes. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us on the right path where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqihi Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.